Christine.
And today we're doing a Fort Worth walking tour with Mr. Tim Young.
Yes.
And we're going to see the Southside area.
Near Southside.
Near Southside area, yes. Southside downtown.
Right.
So,
So we took this great, we're going to go see this great tour.
yeah, so come with us.
It'll be fun.
Yeah,
Bye.
let's go.
I tell people I feel like I live in Paris because I study art at Texas Academy of Figurative Arts down here. So I can walk out of my condo, walk down the street to art class. I can see a play, get an empanada, get a tattoo. You can do anything down here. There's all kinds of cool stuff. There's, y'all watch your step right here. While we're here, does anybody not know the story of the Panther in Fort Worth? Do you know why it's called Panther City? Does anybody not know? There's someone. I'm going to tell the whole story right now, but it's only going to take 3 minutes. So after the before the railroad came, Fort Worth was all prepared because we were booming. Everybody knew the railroad was coming, so the city was growing up. The railroad was delayed, and it was cut short just west of Dallas, and the city started to languish because they thought, well, the railroad's never coming. People started moving away. Some smart aleck lawyer in Dallas came over one day to Fort Worth, and he went back to Dallas. He wrote in the newspaper that it was such a sleepy town that there was a panther sleeping on Main Street. So B.B. Paddock, our mayor, was kind of creative, sort of making lemonade out of lemons, started calling it Panther City. Well, Pantherville at first, then Panther City. For a while in the early 1900s, any shop you went into in Fort Worth would have, some of them would have a baby panther in a cage behind them. They had, B.B. Paddock had a cart that he would use in fairs and parades that would have panther in it. So that's the origin of the Panther City. And for a long time, we had everything was Panther plumbing, Panther printing, Panther everything. But it's been a revival now. You've got Panther City Tattoo. Down here you got Panther City Barbecue. But that is the whole meaning of that name that we have. And if you go on any of our downtown tours, you'll see there are several examples of Panthers in downtown. One by Franco Ellis and Tinie in Jennings Park by the Flatiron Building. That's a Carrera Marble Panther. Then up by the courthouse, there's a bronze panther done by Darren Wright, who comes on our tours quite often. I love it when he comes on that tour, the Bronze and Stone tour, because I can say, here's the panther, here's the artist. But Fort Worth really does embrace the panther, and if you didn't know why, you know. The building in 1909 to replace the original burned building where his hardware store was, or his grocery store was. He actually lived on this lot from 1888 to 1920. In the former grocery store that he lived above, then when it burned and rebuilt, he lived upstairs here. He moved out in 1920 and turned the upper floor into a hotel that operated for about 10 years. In 2005, it was renovated by Eddie Vanston. He has a company called Old Building Fort Worth. He did the Marquine Apartments, the Miller Lofts, the Supreme Golf Warehouse, and the Ludamay Historic District LaSalle Apartment Complex. So he's real into historic preservation and renovation. There are currently 14 units in the building. They range from 398 to 992 square feet. They all have original features: clawfoot tubs, hex marble floors. The building was offered for sale in 2020 for $4.1 million. I'm not sure what the outcome of that was. I'm not sure if it's sold or if it's still in the same hands. But there is a picture on the flyer of one of the apartments in that building.
Do people live in it now?
Yes. Yeah. They're and you can look that up online. They're as all apartments are now, they're expensive.
Yeah. You need to come try this little place.
tradition is not try to do matchy-matchy, not do more of the same, but to do something that complements it and is of a different style. So this is the 1920 Bethel congregation. So there's two major Jewish congregations in Fort Worth, Ava Shalom and Bethel. They both originated downtown. Bethel moved here from, you all know First Christian Church? It's the dome downtown. So right next to it was a little building where Bethel used to be, and after they moved out, it became the All Church Press. But they moved here in 1920. Ava Shalom used to be where the Federal Building is now, on Taylor Street. And they moved, both of these congregations are now out off of Hewlett. Big, huge campuses. Bethel was built here 1920, and it was the congregation was here until 2000. It was constructed by William Bryce. If you've ever been in downtown, there's a little building right kind of near the Flatiron Building, near Houston Place Lofts, little brick building with a fence around it. That's the Bryce building. William Bryce was a mayor of Fort Worth, and he also owned the brick company that built a lot of the brick buildings in Fort Worth. So it was constructed by William Bryce. In 1946, the building had a major fire. Members were playing cards in the basement, and when the fire broke out, and a janitor named Enoch Jackson is credited by the conversation with saving the Price Taurus from the fire. They rebuilt in 1948, and they had a rule at that point: no more card games in the church. August 2000, the congregation took a 7-mile walk to their new campus on Hewlett Street, and they had a Torah procession. They took a lot of the things out of this building, pews, the stained glass windows. I don't know if you all noticed, Historic Fort Worth just about a week or two ago had a presentation. They had used some of the stained glass windows in the new building that they built, but several of them had been stored over the years. They pulled all those out, and they're now on display in the new building, and Historic Fort Worth just had a program about that. Fort Worth ISD purchased the building for $900,000 and then sold it. And Broadway Baptist, the congregation next door, was voting to buy the building, but it lost in a narrow vote of the congregation, so they didn't end up buying it. 1878, they broke away and formed Southside Baptist with Pastor John Smith Gillespie, who had been the pastor of First Baptist. So not only did people break away, they took the pastor, and then J. Frank Morris came somewhat later. Originally, they met in Hell's Half Acre above a drugstore that was on the southwest corner of what is today the Waterfront. And then they bought this lot in 1885, and they opened a new building here, which is not this building, in 1886. I don't have a picture in your flyer, but this is the first building on this side. In 1890, they changed their name to Broadway Baptist Church. And in 1893, I love this story. The pastor, John Smith Gillespie, went on a vice tour of Hell's Half Acre. He disguised himself. He went into all the bars and brothels and stuff, looked around and saw what was going on. And then he did a sermon series in the church here called The Meanness of Fort Worth. It was very controversial. I'm going to do my best impression of a Baptist preacher. This was printed in the newspapers. Now, I appeal to the good people of Fort Worth, brethren and friends. There is a great crisis upon us. The dragon that would destroy our children moves his great, bulky, massive, slimy, sinuous, spiral form up to our very doors. he spreads his jaws wide open, and he says, when a child is born, make haste and get big enough for me. And when the little one is just getting of sufficient age to be the pride of his parents, into the mouth of the monster he goes and is crushed. The dragon that I refer to is composed of the deadfalls and the rotten places in the city of Fort Worth. That illustrates, my beloved, how these evil places and this general lawlessness is destroying our children. I love my 4 babies, but as dearly as I love them, I had rather dig 4 little graves, and I had rather lower them down in 4 little coffins and cover the earth over them than to see them grow up, to fall into the snares and be ruined, as many of our sons and daughters are being ruined in Fort Worth. So they didn't really ever invite him to speak. It was a lot of the Baptists from across the country applauded this, but people in Fort Worth didn't take very kindly to it. It did result in pressuring the city to crack down on Hill's Half Acre, but they'd done that before and they didn't get much result. So 7 months later, he leaves and goes to pastor a church in Tinie. In 1906, they built a new brick building on this site, which is not this building. There's a picture of that building on your flyer. It's about halfway down on the left. So that was there 1906 to 1909, and just below it is a picture of it after the Southside fire. In 1910, there was a new building built here, this building, by Sanguinet and Stats. Now they're the famous Fort Worth architects that built half of downtown. The firm built my building, built the post office, the TNT warehouse, a lot of buildings downtown. It was acquired later by Y&C Headroom, who's built 7 courthouses in Texas, built the Baker Hotel, built my building. So it was built and it was expanded several times, 1922, 1940, 1949. It was last remodeled, most previously remodeled by Wyatt and Hedrick at a cost of $1.2 million. The auditorium seats 1,800. In 1961, it became home of the Rilda B. O'Brien Clyburn pipe organ, and it was donated by members and by her son Van Clyburn in memory of his mother. There was a major renovation in 2014. Another historical fact about the building is Lena Pope was a member here, and she was in the Martha Sunday school class, and their ministry.
Christine.
And welcome to Haircolor Confessional. Today we did a walk-in tour of Fort Worth with Mr. Tim Young, and apparently he does this every month. And it's just a Fort Worth walking tour. So last month it was the banks that started New York. New York. The banks started Fort Worth. Sorry.
Fort Worth. And this month it is the near Southside.
Yeah. So we did a lot of near Southside. It's called the Southside, the Southern Exposure. Near Southside walking tour. So we got to see a bunch of stuff. Christine, what was your favorite thing?
Well, okay, so we started off at Galveston and Vickery, and then we started off at that recreational building, which is really historic. So we walked over there, went to South Main, and then we saw all these other buildings with the murals, and you got the Kent Cadillac building, you got South Main Salon over there, you've got a new coffee shop over there.
Churches.
You've got 3 different churches. That I knew about Broadway Baptist Church, and I saw a building right next to it that's the Presbyterian Church, but I didn't know it was functioning, but it is. And then, gosh, we saw so many different things that I just wasn't aware of. So I've got a list. So there was a sanctuary that used to be a Lutheran.
That was my favorite thing.
Right.
Sanctuary. It was a small little building that was a church. It's nothing now, but it's for
and
sale.
then kind of diagonal was another building, and it was what was it? It was a charter school, and it had some significance to that. And then we kept walking further. We went to the pickle place.
Pickle Emporium.
That was really cool.
There was a huge fire over in Southside, so most of these buildings have been restored and rebuilt, and that's what we learned today.
Yeah, that was the coolest thing. And then we saw the Fort Worth. What was it called? The Fort Worth High School, but it was called
the Premier High School.
Yeah,
but
6th Ward School.
Oh yeah,
that's what it was called.
The 6th Ward School.
Yeah. A couple other things. We learned that there was a grocery store that had also had, what was it? The Pouchy building, 1909.
Bacochi.
Yeah, he was a successful grocery builder.
Yeah.
Or owner. And then on the 2nd floor, the Fort Worth ISD, I guess, teachers lived there, and I guess mostly women because they were teachers. So
they're restoring a lot of buildings over here. They're making a lot of new apartments. They're also restoring old apartments.
Right.
They're trying to get this place even more functional than it already is. But it's some great stuff.
So it also too was a 2 to 3 mile walk. It probably took us about 2 hours to get through it, but it was really educational. And we learned a lot, and I think it was kind of a fun tour.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and they do it every month, and it's free. So
free tour. Plus, they give you breakfast burritos.
I know. So we meet at the TNP train station, and the parking's free in the back.
Parking's free.
So don't ever park in the front.
Yes.
So that was a lot of fun to do. So
it was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so watch our stuff, and we'll show you everything we saw today. And I'm Angela.
I'm Christine.
Thanks for watching Haircolor Confessional.
Bye.